Emily Hart had spent most of her life proving people wrong. At 38, she was one of the youngest self-made millionaires in the city. She owned several successful businesses, lived in a beautiful penthouse overlooking the river, and had more money than she could ever spend. Yet every evening when she returned home, the silence inside her apartment felt louder than the busy streets below. Years earlier, Emily had believed in love. She had trusted a man who promised forever, only to discover that he loved her wealth and connections more than he loved her. The betrayal shattered something deep inside her. Since then, she built walls around her heart higher than any skyscraper she owned. Friends often encouraged her to date again, but every attempt ended the same way. Some men were impressed by her success. Others were intimidated by it. A few only saw dollar signs. After years of disappointment, Emily stopped trying. One rainy Thursday evening, she sat across from her longtime friend Sarah in a quiet cafe. "You can't keep living like this forever," Sarah said gently. Emily looked out the window at the rain sliding down the glass. "Living like what?" "Alone." Emily smiled faintly. "Alone is peaceful." "No," Sarah replied. "Alone is safe. There's a difference." The words lingered in Emily's mind. A week later, Sarah called with a proposal. "One last blind date," she said. Emily laughed. "You said that 3 blind dates ago." "I mean it this time. If it goes badly, I'll never mention dating again." Emily almost refused immediately. She had important meetings, investment plans, and a dozen better ways to spend a Friday evening. But something about Sarah's persistence made her hesitate. "Fine," Emily finally said. "One last date." The restaurant Sarah selected was elegant but quiet, the kind of place where conversations mattered more than appearances. On Friday evening, Emily arrived precisely on time. She wore a simple cream-colored dress beneath a light coat. Unlike her usual business meetings, she left her assistant, driver, and work phone behind. For once, she wanted a normal evening. She sat near a large window and glanced at her watch. 7 o'clock. No date. 7:05. Still nobody. Emily sighed. She should have known better. Just as she reached for her purse, the restaurant door opened. A tall man stepped inside, shaking rainwater from an umbrella. His shirt sleeves were slightly rolled up, and he looked as though he had rushed there directly from somewhere important. Before approaching her table, he paused near the entrance and checked his phone. Then, unexpectedly, he smiled at a photo on the screen. Not the confident smile of someone trying to impress a woman, the warm smile of a father looking at someone he loved. Emily didn't know why, but for the first time that evening, she became curious. The man walked toward her table with an apologetic expression. "Emily?" he asked. She nodded. "I'm Daniel. I'm really sorry I'm late." There was no dramatic excuse in his voice, no rehearsed charm, just genuine embarrassment. Emily gestured toward the empty chair. "It's only 10 minutes. Daniel sat down and let out a small breath of relief. "Still, I hate being late." The waiter arrived, and they ordered coffee before either of them knew what to say next. Emily studied him carefully. He was handsome, but not in the polished way she was used to seeing. His shirt was neatly pressed, but not expensive. His watch looked old. There was a faint tiredness around his eyes, the kind that came from responsibilities rather than late-night parties. "So," Emily said, "what do you do?" "I teach history at a middle school." The answer surprised her. Most blind dates arranged for her involved entrepreneurs, executives, or investors. "A teacher?" Daniel smiled. "That's usually the reaction." "No, I just wasn't expecting it." "I get that a lot." Their coffees arrived. For a few moments, conversation flowed easily. Daniel spoke about his students, sharing funny stories that made Emily laugh despite herself. Then his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen. The smile she had noticed earlier immediately returned. "My daughter," he said. Emily raised an eyebrow. "You have a daughter?" "She's 8. For some reason, Sarah had forgotten to mention that detail. Daniel noticed her surprise. "If that's a problem, I understand." "No," Emily replied quickly. "Just unexpected." He nodded. Most people hear single dad and lose interest pretty fast. There was no bitterness in his voice, only honesty. Emily looked down at her coffee. She couldn't remember the last time someone had spoken so openly without trying to impress her. Her name is Lily, Daniel continued. She's the best thing that ever happened to me. The way he said it caught Emily off guard. Many parents love their children, but Daniel spoke about his daughter with genuine pride and affection. Not once did he complain about the difficulties of raising a child alone. Instead, he talked about bedtime stories, science projects, soccer games, and the funny questions Lily asked before school. As he spoke, Emily found herself listening more than talking. Most dates felt like interviews. This didn't. There was something refreshingly real about him. No bragging. No networking. No attempts to figure out how much she was worth. For the first time in years, Emily wasn't wondering what someone wanted from her. She was simply enjoying the conversation. And that realization unsettled her more than she wanted to admit. The evening stretched longer than either of them had planned. What was supposed to be a quick dinner turned into hours of conversation. They talked about childhood memories, favorite books, embarrassing school stories, and the small moments that somehow mattered more than major achievements. For the first time in years, Emily wasn't calculating whether someone was compatible with her lifestyle or social circle. She was simply present. As they finished dessert, Daniel's phone rang. He glanced at the screen and immediately answered. "Hey, sweetheart." His voice softened. Emily looked away, giving him privacy, but she couldn't help overhearing pieces of the conversation. "No, you don't need to be scared." A pause. "The thunder will pass soon." Another pause. "I'm proud of you for being brave." When he ended the call, he looked apologetic. "Sorry, Lily gets nervous during storms." Emily smiled. "It's okay." Daniel checked the time and stood. "I should go. Her babysitter needs to get home." There was no hesitation in his decision. No attempt to extend the evening at the expense of his responsibilities. His daughter came first. Oddly, Emily respected that. Outside, rain still fell across the city streets. They stood beneath the restaurant awning for a moment. Daniel slipped his hands into his pockets. "I had a really good time tonight." Emily found herself smiling. "So did I. Can I be honest?" She nodded. "When Sarah told me about you, I almost canceled." Emily laughed. "Why?" "I heard you were incredibly successful, and I assumed we'd have nothing in common." "And now?" Daniel shrugged. "Now I think I was wrong." A comfortable silence settled between them. Not awkward, not forced, just easy. The kind of silence Emily had never experienced on a first date. A taxi pulled up to the curb. Before getting in, Daniel looked at her. "I'd like to see you again, but no pressure." There was no rehearsed line. No game, no attempt to persuade her. Just sincerity. Emily watched the rain bounce off the pavement. For years, she had believed the right person would be someone impressive enough to match her success. But standing there, she realized something she had been missing all along. She didn't need someone to compete with her accomplishments. She needed someone whose character made her feel safe enough to lower her guard. Someone kind. Someone dependable. Someone who showed up. As Daniel stepped toward the taxi, Emily surprised herself. "Wait!" He turned. A small smile appeared on her face. "How about next Saturday?" For a second, his expression brightened like a man who hadn't expected good news. "I'd like that." As the taxi disappeared into the rainy night, Emily stood alone beneath the awning, feeling something she hadn't felt in a very long time. Hope. And though she didn't know it yet, she hadn't just met a good man that evening. She had taken the first step toward becoming part of a family that would change her life forever.